Welcome back to my tiny little bookshelf. We are so happy to have you. So I've been wanting to film a book-related video for quite some time now, and I basically just keep making excuses for myself. So now that it's 2019, there is no excuse. 2018 was a big year for me in terms of reading. In 2018, I set my first ever reading goal. I set a goal for 30 books and I successfully read 30 books and 2 additional ones. So I finished the year at 32 books, which may not seem like a lot to you, but for me, it was kind of a big deal as I grew up being quite an avid reader. And then when I graduated high school, I went to acting school. So for about 4 years, all I read were plays and nonfiction books about acting or playwrights, which I love, but it kind of got me out of the groove of reading longer novels. In 2018, I think I finally solidified the kind of reading or the kind of books that I want to be reading or that I enjoy reading the most. So 2018 was really satisfying for me because I got to read quite a few books that I really, really loved. Some that I didn't love too much, that's okay. But I have a better idea of the kind of reader that I am now, and I've been having such a good time. I'm just gonna quickly go through all 32 of the books that I read this year. I'm not gonna do any kind of review or anything. I'm simply just going to show them to you and list their title and author name. And then at the end, I will do kind of a more in-depth little tidbit about my favorite books of the year. So, without further ado, let's hit it. So I just have to mention that I don't have physical copies of all of the books that I read this year, either because I lent them out or I listened to them on audiobook. So, I'm gonna list these in order of which I read them. These books weren't necessarily published in 2018, though some of them were. These are just the books that I read in the year of 2018. So some of these books are old news, but I didn't get on the bandwagon until now. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. The Ultimate Harry Potter and Philosophy. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by another guy whose name I can't remember. Sylvia by A.R. Gurney. They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. Year of Wonders by Geraldine Brooks. Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. Circe by Madeline Miller. Balm in Gilead by Lanford Wilson. Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman. Sunshine by Melissa Lee Houghton. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard, The Sword of Summer by Rick Riordan. Nevermore, The Trials of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne. The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. Nights at the Circus by Angela Carter. You by Carolyn Kepnes. The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater. Blue Lily, Lily Blue by Maggie Stiefvater. The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater. The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Reasons She Goes to the Woods by Deborah K. Davies. Lanark by Alistair Gray. The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince by J.K. Rowling. A Ladder to the Sky by John Boyne. Benti by Nnedi Okorafor. Yesterday I Was the Moon by Noor Unahar. I probably said that wrong. I apologize. Milkman by Anna Burns. So I'm going to start with my favorite book of the year, The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I know. This is a lot of people's favorite book. A lot of people also hate this book, and I totally understand why. The characters in this book are pretentious, they're not likable, it's weird, the book is dense at times, Are you okay? Okay. This book can be dense at times, it's very wordy, it's kind of a chunker, it comes in at about 559 pages. That's not including any of the kind of end notes here. But I loved every second of this book. And the funny thing about this is that I hadn't intended on reading this book. I kind of picked it up on a whim one night after a couple of the booktubers that I was watching just mentioned it in passing. I actually think I was also watching one of the Instagram stories on the Bellatrist Instagram page, and I think it was Ink and Fable. I think that was the Instagrammer who mentioned that The Secret History was one of her all-time favorite books and she had multiple copies. And I just thought, I want to read that. So at 8:30 at night, about half an hour before the bookstore closed, I jumped in my car and drove to Books A Million, the only bookstore that I have in my town, and I got this copy of The Secret History, and I never looked back. I'm so happy about it. If you don't know, this story follows, our narrator is Richard Papin. He's a young man from California who goes to a liberal arts college in Vermont, where he kind of encounters this really small niche group of classics majors. It's just this group of students, and he's just entranced by them. He wants to be their friend. He wants to like know what's up with them. They're kind of aloof and eccentric, and he wants in, and he gets in. And horrible things happen to these people, and it's really satisfying. If you don't like reading about pretentious people, I totally understand that, and I think one of the biggest critiques of this book is that the narrator is so pretentious, but it just suits the storyline. I mean, he is pretentious, he is, and their pretentiousness or their like elitism, their kind of god complexes, get them into this really screwed up situation, and then, I mean, I think they get what they deserve. The mental and emotional torment that follows the horrendous act that these students partake in, I think is good enough karma for me. I enjoyed it. I loved reading about these characters. I loved hating them. I loved loving them. All in all, I just think it's a really good book. I'm fascinated by Donna Tartt as well, and I really want to read her other novels. She only has 2 others, I believe. But I'm kind of scared that I'm not going to like them as much as The Secret History, so we'll see. But this is my favorite book of the year. If you don't like it, tell me why in the comments. If you do like it, you're right. Well, I think the next book I want to talk about is The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne. This book had me in awe the entire time I was reading it. This book made me laugh. This book made me cry, ugly cry. This book made me go, how did this man write such a work of fiction? This is a historical fiction novel that follows a man named Cyril Avery and his entire life growing up in Ireland and as a gay man. And some of the characters in the book are quite awful, and Cyril even is a little morally questionable. But again, it's fascinating to read about these people because it's so real. I mean, not everyone is perfect. Not everyone has a perfectly tuned moral compass. You know, we all make mistakes, and it's human to act selfishly, and Cyril goes through that, and he deals with a number of heartbreaking moments in his life, and I just thought it was spectacular. At times it is a little bit melodramatic. There are 2 characters, it's Cyril's adoptive parents, Maud Avery and Charles Avery. They're ridiculous, but so funny and actually kind of inspiring. I love that Maud is a aspiring writer, but she detests any ounce of recognition for her work. Like, she doesn't want to be a famous writer. She just wants to write. And she's ridiculous. And so is Charles, but they have so much heart and they bring so much to the story. So this was another one of my favorite books of the year. I also listened to this book on audiobook, and the narrator is incredible. I highly recommend listening to this book if you're looking for an audiobook to get into. Milkman by Anna Burns. So this book was actually long-listed, short-listed, and then won the Man Booker Prize for this year. I'd never followed the Man Booker before 2018, so I didn't really have thoughts about it one way or another. I don't know if I've ever even read a Man Booker Prize winner before. If I have, it went unnoticed by me. But I first saw Simon of Savage Reads. I think he just hauled this book or something, maybe was talking about the long list, and I thought, holy crap, look at that cover. And then the synopsis just sounded really cool. Given the book is not really much like, the synopsis does not do much for this book. It's very vague. But what I loved so much about this book is that it is vague. None of the characters have official titles, so they don't have names or anything. They're referred to as somebody McSomebody, Milkman, the real Milkman, the man who doesn't love anybody, middle sister, wee sisters. So this is kind of ambiguous in that this could be taking place anywhere with any group of people, but at the same time is very, very specifically about the Troubles in Northern Ireland in the 1970s. The book kind of centers around a great deal of political and social upheaval, but it also delves into issues of mental health, issues of feeling safe as a woman in a society, and it's quite funny too. Middle sister has such a unique voice, and she does kind of ramble along, but I think that she finds some, she comes to some really insightful observations as she goes through her life. I'm not doing a very good job kind of giving a synopsis of any of these. If you want a full synopsis of the book, I can link the Goodreads down below. I realize I didn't really give good synopsises. I just kind of gave my thoughts about the books. But those are my favorites of the year. I don't think I'm going to do my least favorites of the year because that just seems petty. But yeah, I'll link my Goodreads page down below. I'll link all of my favorite books and their Goodreads pages down below as well, so that you can read their full synopsis if you're interested in them. We'll see how this all cuts together, because I'm not sure it's going to make any sense. But if you're seeing this video, I managed to throw something coherent, uh-oh. I managed to throw something together. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Hello, I thought I would just quickly honorably mention Harry Potter, obviously, and The Raven Cycle. Those were rereads for me this year, so I didn't include them in my favorites, but they are some of my favorites. Yeah, I just want to throw that out there so I didn't get, like, attacked. But yeah, we love Harry Potter here. Woo! I might be a Slytherin or I might be a Ravenclaw, guys. Tell me what you think.